From translation, NIV New International Version. This 31 day of the year. Today we are reading passages Exodus 39 to 40. Exodus chapter 39, verses 1 to 43. From the blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, they made the woven garments for ministering in the sanctuary. They also made the sacred garments for Aaron, as the Lord commanded Moses. The ephod was made of gold, and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen. They hammered out thin sheets of gold and cut strands to be worked into the blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and the fine linen the work of a skilled craftsman. They made shoulder pieces for the ephod, which was attached to it and joined together at the other end. The waistband was made with the same materials, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. They mounted the onyx stones in gold filigree settings and engraved them like an engraver's seal with the names of the sons of Israel. Then they fastened them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod as memorial stones for the sons of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. They made the breastpiece the work of a skilled craftsman. They made it like the ephod, of gold and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen. It was square a span long and a span wide and folded double. They mounted 4 rows of precious stones on it. The first row had ruby, topaz, and emerald. The second row had turquoise, sapphire, and emerald. The third row had jacinth, agate, and amethyst. The fourth row had chrysolite, onyx, and jasper. They were mounted in gold filigree settings. The 12 stones, one for each name, were engraved like an engraver's seal, each with its name for the 12 tribes. For the breastpiece, they made braided chains of pure gold, like a rope. They made 2 gold filigree settings and 2 gold rings, and attached the 2 rings to the 2 settings on the shoulder pieces of the ephod. They attached the 2 gold chains to the 2 gold rings on the shoulder pieces of the ephod. They tied the 2 ends of the 2 chains to the 2 gold settings and attached them to the front of the shoulder pieces of the ephod. They made 2 gold rings and attached them to the 2 bottom corners of the breastpiece on the inside edge next to the ephod. Then they made 2 gold rings and attached them to the bottom of the front shoulder pieces of the ephod, close to the seam below. They tied the blue cord to the rings on the ephod so that it would be fastened above the waistpiece of the ephod, and so the breastpiece would not be loosened from the ephod as the Lord commanded Moses. They made the robe, woven of all blue cloths, with an opening for the head in its center. The opening had a woven binding around it, like the opening of a coat of armor, so as not to be torn. They made pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and finely twisted linen around the hem of the robe. They made bells of pure gold, and attached them around the hem between the pomegranates, a bell and a pomegranate around the hem of the robe to minister in, as the Lord commanded Moses. For the turban they made a plate, the sacred diadem, of pure gold, and inscribed it, like an engraver's seal, holy to the Lord. They tied a blue cord to it to attach it to the turban, as the Lord commanded Moses. They made tunics of fine linen for Aaron and his sons, and the turban of fine linen, and the ornate headbands of fine linen, and the linen undergarments of finely twisted linen. They also made the sashes of finely twisted linen, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of white linen, worked with embroidery, as the Lord commanded Moses. So everything was completed, the entire work of the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, its furnishings, all its articles, and the best linen for the work of the tabernacle, as the Lord commanded Moses. They brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent and all its furnishings, its clasps, frames, crossbars, posts, and bases, the covering of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of hides of sea cows. The ark of the testimony with its poles and the atonement cover, the table with all its articles and the bread of the presence, the pure lampstand with its lamps and all its accessories, and the oil for the light, the gold altar, the anointing oil, the fragrant incense, the curtain for the entrance to the tent, the bronze altar with its bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the basin with its stand, the curtains of the courtyard with its posts and bases, the curtain for the entrance to the courtyard, the ropes and tent pegs for the courtyard, and all the furnishings for the service of the tabernacle, for the tent of meeting. The woven garments for ministering in the sanctuary, the sacred garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments for his sons, for their ministry as priests, with all the other furnishings for the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. Moses inspected all the work and saw that they had done it just as the Lord had commanded. So Moses blessed them. Exodus chapter 40, verses 1 to 37. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Set up the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, on the first day of the first month. Place the ark of the testimony in it and screen the ark with the curtain. Bring in the table and set out what belongs on it. Then bring in the lampstand and set up its lamps. Place the gold altar of incense in front of the ark of the testimony and put the curtain at the entrance to the tabernacle. Place the altar of burnt offering in front of the entrance to the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. Place the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar, and put water in it. Set up the courtyard around it, and hang the curtain for the entrance to the courtyard. Take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and everything in it. Consecrate it and all its furnishings, and it will be holy. Then anoint the altar of burnt offering and all its utensils. Consecrate it, and it will be an altar most holy. Anoint the basin and its stand, and consecrate them. Bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance to the tent of meeting and wash them with water. Dress Aaron in the sacred garments and anoint him. Consecrate him, so he may serve me as priest. Bring his sons and dress them in tunics. Anoint them as you anointed their father, so they may serve me as priests. Their anointing will be a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. Moses did everything just as the Lord commanded him. So the tabernacle was set up on the first day of the first month in the second year. When Moses set up the tabernacle, he put the bases in place, erected the frames, inserted the crossbars, and set up the posts. Then he spread the tent over the tabernacle and put the covering over the tent, as the Lord commanded him. He took the testimony and placed it in the ark, attached the atonement cover to the ark, and put the ark in its place inside the curtain. He brought the table into the tabernacle and set it up on the north side of the tabernacle, outside the curtain. He placed the bread of the presence on it before the Lord, as the Lord commanded him. He set up the lampstand in the tabernacle on the south side of the holy place, opposite the table. Then he set up the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord commanded him. He placed the gold altar in the tent of meeting in front of the curtain, and burned fragrant incense on it, as the Lord commanded him. He also set up the curtain at the entrance to the tabernacle. He placed the altar of burnt offering near the entrance to the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and offered on it burnt offerings and grain offerings, as the Lord commanded him. He placed the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar, and put water in it for washing. Moses and Aaron and his sons used the basin to wash their hands and feet. Whenever they entered the tent of meeting, or when they approached the altar, they washed, as the Lord commanded Moses. Then Moses set up the courtyard around the tabernacle and altar, and hung the curtain at the entrance to the courtyard. And so Moses finished the work. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses could not enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled on it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. In all the journeys of the Israelites, whenever the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle, they would set out, but if the cloud did not lift, they did not set out until the day it lifted. So the cloud of the Lord was over the tabernacle by day, and fire was in the cloud by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel during all their journeys.